rape.
You're taking her clothes off and violating her.
I was drunk out of my mind. I just couldn't believe it was me.
But it was you.
The exclusive prison interview.
You slapped her so hard that it left ugly bruises on her body. What would make you do that?
The shocking video.
I look at what happened to that girl and your conduct on that tape. What the hell were you thinking? Did you take those photos?
I don't recall.
They were on your phone. When you woke up the next morning, what did you remember?
Now, from Nashville, Tennessee, here's Dr. Phil.
It's the story you haven't heard until now. Today, in an exclusive interview, Corey Beatty, one of the 2 football players just found guilty of brutally raping an unconscious female student, out for the first time. It all started here on the campus of prestigious Vanderbilt University, known by some as the Harvard of the South, costing over $60,000 a year to attend. Parents assume their children will be safe when they send them here for an upscale education. But tragically, for one young woman, that wasn't the case on the night of June 23, 2013, when these hallowed halls of learning turned into a violent crime scene. That night started out like so many other college nights, partying, bars, but it ended up in a nightmare for one young woman who was carried unconscious from her car and into room 213 of Gillette Hall Dormitory, where she was repeatedly sexually assaulted. It was an incomprehensible, heinous crime, much of it caught on surveillance camera, with the rest of the assault recorded on a cell phone camera. The story shook Vanderbilt to the core and disturbed the nation.
We begin with a high-profile case putting new attention on sexual assaults on college campuses.
On this Saturday night at Vanderbilt Stadium, it was all business as the football team scrimmaged. Nary a word was heard here about the rape case.
Corey Beatty and Brandon Vandenberg were indicted by a grand jury last Friday for raping a 21-year-old unconscious female inside Vandenberg's dorm room.
Beatty's bond is currently set at $350,000.
The victim was on a date with Vandenberg before the rape occurred.
He basically sliced her up and served her on a silver platter to a bunch of his friends to rape.
Surveillance video showed Vandenberg carrying the woman to his dorm, accompanied by his teammates.
He gets in an elevator and goes up to the second floor. Mr. Vandenberg carries her out of the elevator, through the surveillance-covered hallway, and into room 213. When they enter room 213, there is no longer surveillance coverage, but cell phones come out.
Eventually, they pick her back up again after they're done taking these pictures and drag her over to Vandenberg's dorm room.
Within 2 minutes of entering the room, this unconscious woman is dumped on the floor and she starts to be sexually violated.
Prosecutors Vandenberg took pictures and video of the assault and shared it with friends.
You've seen yourself in these videos, Mr. Beatty?
I have.
Can you explain your actions?
I was just drunk out of my mind. This is something I would never do in my right state of mind.
Their defense at trial, he was too drunk to remember what happened, but he wasn't too drunk to send the pictures to his friends.
Her panties are pulled down below her waist. She's motionless.
They her with their bodies and with a water bottle. They took close-up photos of her intimate body parts and videoed it and laughed.
Who was it that were on their knees there in a position over the young lady?
Corey Beatty. Brandon Vandenberg and Corey Beatty watched as the student they are accused of raping took the stand.
After tasting the blue drink, what's the next thing that you remember?
I remember waking up in an unfamiliar room at 8-something the next morning. And I also was in pain in certain parts of my body.
Did you consent to any of the acts that were done to you?
Absolutely not.
The jury in the Vandenberg and Beatty trial has reached a verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant Corey Lamont Beatty guilty of aggravated rape. Count 2, guilty of aggravated rape. Mr. Vandenberg, count 1, guilty of aggravated rape.
As it was read, you could hear gasps in the courtroom.
You don't get to abuse somebody, make fun of them, laugh about it,
while the rape's taking place.
Some of the counts carry up to 25 years in prison. Sentencing is set for early March.
Inside the Criminal Justice Center in Nashville, Tennessee, sit former teammates Brandon Vandenberg and Corey Beatty, two men at the center of one of the biggest headline-making trials of the year. Corey Beatty testified that on the night of the attack, he consumed so much alcohol that he has no memory of committing a crime. But the jurors were shown damning video and graphic images of Corey violating the victim. Today, in an exclusive interview, Corey Beatty breaks his silence about his part in the incident that shocked the nation. You have just been convicted of these charges that we've all been following, and I want to be clear, we approached you about this interview, correct?
That's correct.
We did that because we really want to know what you were thinking.
Yes.
In this. Take me back to the moment when you heard that verdict read in court. Did you expect that to happen?
Well, I was just prepared for anything. I mean, I've never been in a situation like that before, so it was kind of shocking. I guess it kind of felt surreal. This is my first time ever being in contact with any type of law enforcement regarding this. I guess the moment when it set in is when I looked to the right and I saw my family crying, and then that's when it got real for me.
Corey, I ask you this first, not as Dr. Phil, but as a father.
Yes, sir.
I look at the events of that night and what happened to that girl, and I look at your conduct on that tape. I have to ask you, what the hell were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking?
I mean, I was drunk out of my mind, so I don't think I was thinking. And I mean, that's just not a clear representation of who I am. As they were showing that stuff, as trial went on, I just couldn't believe it was me. It was hard to put myself in that person's shoes. And I mean, I can't express how sorry I am for my actions.
But it was you, and you said you were drunk out of your mind. What do you mean by drunk out of your mind? When you woke up the next morning, did you remember what took place?
No, sir, I did not.
You had no recall whatsoever?
No recall.
Because when we look at you on tape, you look to be functioning. You're walking, you're talking, you're laughing. I mean, she looks blackout drunk. She looks unconscious. She looks completely helpless. You're up, talking, moving, emoting. You're doing all of that.
You know, I think a lot of people can get drunk and not remember and still, function. But like I said, I don't recall anything from that night. When I saw those things in court, it just looked so much to me.
Take me through the first time you saw yourself doing that.
I couldn't believe myself. How could I let myself get to that point and let myself act out that way, because my whole life, I feel like I've always been a caring individual to look out for the helpless or the less fortunate. I mean, although I come from less fortunate, I've always had a heart to help. And, that just wasn't my heart. That just wasn't me.
What was the first tape you saw? You sit down with your lawyer and says, okay, here's what they have. What was the first thing you saw?
Honestly, I don't recall the first thing I saw. They wanted me to see the footage, and I denied. So when they showed it to me, it was just kind of like a quick glimpse, and I was like, okay, just like I done it.
Did you consent to any of the acts that were done to you?
Absolutely not.
Did you consent to any photographs or videos being taken of you?
Absolutely not.
What did you say to yourself when you saw it?
I was just disappointed because I know my mother hadn't raised me that way. And, I mean, there's no other words for that type of behavior, but, disappointment, the high school community I come from, I just knew that just wasn't the behavior everybody expected out of me. I wanted to kind of distance myself from that event as much as possible. And not seeing that footage allowed myself to distance myself from it.
That night, when this young woman is brought back to the dorm, you go out front, correct?
From the footage, yes, sir, that's correct.
What do you mean from the footage?
From what I see on the footage, but like I said, I recall going out.
But you don't doubt that you did. You saw it on the footage. Are you still trying to distance yourself from it?
No, sir. I mean, that's me on the footage, clear as day. But, you know, I like to think of myself in that light still to this day. I don't like to think that I'm that person.
Was there ever one voice or anybody in the hall that said, hey, guys, come on, this is a human being, this is wrong? Not one voice, not one person said, come on, this is not okay?
I mean, I don't recall what anybody said, but, I mean, from the footage, it didn't look like anybody was trying to intervene and stop.
Listen, I've been doing this for like 35 years. I've worked with a lot of drunks, and I know that they black out for a period of time and then bits and pieces start coming back. And when they are triggered by certain stimuli, like pictures or people describing it, certainly video, then it starts to fill in the pieces.
Honestly, I don't recall. It just looks foreign. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, I don't recall any other events.
That's about the 15th time you've said, I don't recall. And you're saying that none of these pieces have filled in for you? That you're just like, I have no recall, no recollection of this whatsoever?
Coming up.
You slapped her so hard that it left ugly bruises on her body. What inside you would make you do that?
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, the Vanderbilt football players interview from behind bars.
Brandon Banks, Corey Beatty, Jaborian Tip McKenzie, and Brandon Vanderburg were all indicted by a grand jury last Friday for raping a 21-year-old unconscious female inside Vandenberg's dorm room.
Defendant Corey Beatty took the stand in his own defense.
You just say you have no memory of anything.
I don't recall anything.
You really expect people to begin and end with, I don't recall? I just don't recall. Sorry, don't recall, don't recall, don't recall, don't recall, don't recall.
I mean, I can make something up.
No, I don't want you to make something up.
Oh,
I don't want you to make I don't recall up either.
Yes, sir. I'm not.
Attorney Warwick Robinson represents Corey Beatty. He told the jury that while Corey's actions were unthinkable, his client was so inebriated that night that he, quote, blacked out, unquote, and has no recollection of what occurred. Do you believe he has total amnesia?
I do.
Of this whole thing?
I do.
Is I don't recall the right approach for him?
It's the only approach because it's the truth. The truth is the best path. And that's why we put him on the stand. But he can't fill in blanks that he doesn't know.
Well, see if you recall this. When they played these horrific videos in trial, you recall how you felt then?
Embarrassed. I mean, I don't want anybody to ever see me in that light.
Did you look at your mother?
I could not look at her. Because I knew that's not who she raised. And I disappointed her more than anything.
What does she say to her boy about that?
She tells me it was a mistake, it was wrong, but, you know, we'll be okay, eventually.
Corey, you were one of 13.
Yes, sir.
Right? You lost your father to cancer very early on. How old were you?
I was 9.
So you grew up through so much of your life?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
You just would be so disappointed. And that's what hurts, you know, deep down, because I know I let him down.
What did he want for you?
He had been coaching me my whole life. He was so strict on me. And then when he died, it's just like, I don't know. I just felt like I was on my own. High school, you know, everybody had their dads. You know, come to the football games. And I was a good player, you know. And I just never had that person rooting in the crowd for me. You know?
What would he have said if he had been in that courtroom and seen those videos, seen those pictures?
I would like to think I wouldn't be in this position if he was alive, honestly. I just think a man needs his father at a certain point in life to mold him and discipline. And I think I missed out on that. And I kind of had to choose my own direction, you know?
Because he wasn't there, do you not know right from wrong?
No, I know right from wrong.
Are you angry inside?
From the death of my father?
Are you angry about anything? I mean, I've always said rape's not about sex, it's about power, it's about anger, it's about violence. What you did that night was violent. Where does that come from?
Oh, I don't think I was angry. I think that was probably one of the happiest times in my life. I was playing college football. I was at a great university, getting a great education. So I wasn't angry.
You slapped her so hard that it left ugly bruises on her body.
Like I said, I don't remember that happening.
What inside you would make you do that?
I don't know. To this day,
alcohol washes away inhibitions. Why did those behaviors come bubbling out?
I have no idea.
Did you know Vandenberg?
No, sir.
You didn't know him before this night?
I knew of him, but I didn't know what his character was like.
How did he know that I can go find some defenseless young woman that's completely unconscious, bring her back to the dorm, and expect to get with some guys, strip her down, and violate her? How did he know that was going to be acceptable and okay?
I don't know where he learned that from.
He was right. How did he know that?
I don't know. Like he ran with a different group of people than I ran with. I don't know what they do, but man, my group of friends, that was not what we did.
Well, apparently it is what you did. That's what you did that night. We know, based on video evidence, within 2 minutes, you're taking her clothes off and violating her. How did you didn't even know him?
I didn't know him. But as far as his character, I had no idea.
What do you think of his character now?
I think he's a good kid, honestly. I think he just got caught up in some unfortunate circumstances.
So you'd hang with him if this all went away?
I wouldn't kick him to the curb. You know, I would still call him, hey, how you doing? Stuff like that.
Why do you suppose he went out and got this girl and brought her back to this dorm full of boys?
I don't know what he was thinking. I had no idea.
This good kid, why do you think he brought her back there? You think that shows good character? If he hadn't brought her back there, would you be here?
Coming up, the cover-up.
You guys tried to cover this up after the fact. There's no question about that, right? We need to keep our mouth shut and hope this thing doesn't blow up.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, the Vanderbilt football players interview from behind bars.
Two former Vanderbilt University football players are trading the gridiron for iron bars. They were found guilty of rape and assault in connection with an on-campus attack in 2013.
When did it dawn on you that something really bad had happened?
When I got the phone call the next morning, and I talked with one of the co-defendants, Mr. McKenzie.
What was your reaction?
But he was like, you know, last night was crazy. You know, check your phone. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I looked through my phone and I saw some images of an unidentified woman. I didn't know. I didn't know what happened to her. And immediately, something just clicked inside of me, and I was like, what happened? I was on the way to church, and I was just asking myself, like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And then rumors and stuff started spreading. I didn't know what had happened.
You see these images on your phone.
Yes, sir.
That didn't bring back any memory.
No, sir.
And what'd you do with those images?
I deleted them immediately. Immediately.
Get the hell rid of these.
Yes, sir.
You were ashamed of those. You wanted those gone.
Absolutely.
Did you take those photos?
I don't recall. Like I said, in the photos, I didn't know how they got there.
They were on your phone, though. You just don't remember whether you snapped them or somebody snapped them with your phone.
Yes, sir.
Did you know who it was?
I did not. I didn't know what had happened to her.
Did you recognize the setting? Could you tell these happened in the dorm, or?
I knew the place looked familiar. I didn't know who the woman was in the phone. I didn't recall anything. And I immediately deleted them.
Then you guys have a meeting that's been referred to as the Popeyes. 5 of you meet at Popeyes. And what was that meeting about?
At that time, the rumors had started spreading. And Chris Boyd, he was kind of like my big brother mentor type. And he was just kind of reassuring everybody that, just calm down, just calm down. It'll be all right.
And y'all all decided we need to not be talking about this, need to get rid of all the images.
Yes, sir. It just wasn't. Yes, sir. So
it's what's been referred to as a cover-up meeting.
I would call it a scared meeting. I mean, everybody was just frantic, like, what happened? What do we do? Like, everybody was just kind of, like I said, frantic.
Clearly, you guys are young guys do stupid stuff. You guys tried to cover this up after the fact. There's no question about that, right?
Yes, sir.
You tried to bury, you tried to get rid of all evidence and hope this didn't come to light.
Yes, sir.
You guys were scared, you were panicked, you were saying, look, everybody needs to keep their mouth shut, get rid of all these images, get rid of all these videos. We need to keep our mouth shut and hope this thing doesn't blow up on us.
It's true.
When you first talked to the police, you lied to them.
I did.
Who did you make the statement, they say I raped some bitch? Who did you make that statement to?
I don't recall who that was. Maybe a text message to my girlfriend at the time, maybe.
It's an interesting choice of words, some bitch. Because you're saying, that's not me. I'm watching myself on tape. That's not me. That's out of character. That is not me. I was not raised that way. My mother didn't raise me that way.
Yes, sir.
Not some girl. They're saying I raped some bitch.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I just think at that point, I felt everything that I had worked for started to crumble. And that was kind of the anger inside of me. I didn't know who the young lady was. Very poor choice of words, obviously. But I felt everything I had worked for crumbling, and I knew how, if it got out to my family, how disappointed they would be. And I think that word and that text message was just kind of like a resemblance of all the anger. It wasn't towards the young lady.
When you're in court,
yes,
and they're playing those videos, and that young woman is there watching those videos, watching you put your buttocks in her face, watching you do the things you did, did you look at her?
Coming up.
Had you not been drunk that night and walked into that room, what might you have done?
I would have told them, y'all back off. Coach Franklin is going to kick all of y'all off the team.
Your concern would have been getting kicked off the team. Your concern wouldn't have been for her.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive.
It has happened again. College athletes accused of raping a fellow student. This time, it's 4 football players from Vanderbilt University. This woman, the victim's roommate, gave harrowing testimony.
My immediate reaction was, whoa, like, what happened to you? Her makeup was really disheveled. We really thought she had possibly, jumped in a pool or something crazy. She felt very, very ill, and she was mentally very out of it.
When you're in court,
yes,
and they're playing those videos, and that young woman is there. Did you look at her?
No, sir. I couldn't. I could barely look at the images. I wish she could really know the type of person I am. I hate that she had to see me in that light and think I'm that person, because I'm not. I'm really not.
Was she some bitch then? When you were in court and she's watching these things you did to defile her, was she just some bitch then?
No, sir.
Was she a human being then? Was she a victim then?
She was. When I saw that stuff, I was just praying. I was just saying, Lord, just put it in her heart to forgive me, because that's not me. It's just not me.
Had you not been drunk that night and walked into that room, what might you have done?
If I had not been drunk and I walked in that room, I would have said, what are y'all thinking right now?
Would you have helped her?
Yeah, I would have helped her. I would have told them, y'all back off. This is just not right. Coach Franklin is gonna kick all of y'all out, off the team.
Your concern would have been getting kicked off the team. Your concern wouldn't have been for her. Would you have protected her?
I think I would have. I think I would have went to go get someone.
When you woke up the next morning, what did you remember?
The last thing I remember is I was in the restroom in East Hall. I was using the bathroom, and I remember looking up and telling myself, man, I'm really drunk. And that was before I went out to the parking lot.
What was the culture for Corey Beatty? Culture encouraged underage drinking. Get drunk, you have sex. It's not important if you remember it. It actually seems to be funnier or more lighthearted or laughable if you don't remember it.
You talked about culture in your closing argument.
Yes.
You said you got caught up in a party culture.
Yes.
If there was a culture where older team members were role models and said, we don't have alcohol-fueled parties in this program, would this have happened?
It would not have happened, I don't think. I think younger kids come into athletic programs looking at the older kids and how they act, how they conduct themselves. The older kids set the norm.
How did Vandenberg know that he could bring an unconscious girl back to that dorm with an expectation that it would be okay, that what happened happened? How does he know that that fits in this culture?
I think this was just a situation where the planets and stars lined up. It was a perfect storm in the worst way. I've said before, if Mr. Vandenberg, they went back to her apartment, and I think the testimony was couldn't find her key to get in the apartment. If they had located that key, they never would have gone back to the dorm. Mr. Banks and Mr. McKenzie went to get some food at a local restaurant. If the line at that restaurant had been 5 minutes longer or 5 minutes shorter, Vandenberg would have never passed in the night with McKenzie and Banks. Never would have happened.
I'm really interested in what you did when you do recall. You said that there's more to you than what happened that night. And so what I'm trying to look at, what your behavior is like, there's like drunk Corey.
Yes, sir.
We know what drunk Corey did because that's on video and pictures. So I'm trying to see what sober Corey did because that tells us more about who you are. Afterwards, you sent text, video gone, ? Right? That was a text you sent.
Yes, sir. If that was on the record, that's...
And then you sent one said video deleted, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're checking to make sure this stuff's been dumped.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this point, you knew this was bad stuff. You knew you had to clean this up. Were you afraid of it criminally, or were you afraid of it just embarrassment-wise?
Both. Both. I didn't know what was on it. I was just afraid and scared. I didn't know.
You hadn't seen it?
I hadn't seen it.
Nobody showed it to you at Popeyes or anywhere? Nobody, you didn't know what the videos were?
I had no idea.
Coming up.
I don't know Brandon Vandenberg. I heard him on videotape laughing and egging people on Really? This is your friend. You would be with this person again. I don't get it.
The Vanderbilt football players interview from behind bars continues.
We, the jury, find the defendant Corey Lamont Beatty guilty of aggravated rape.
What is just for Corey? What do you hope the court comes back with?
My hope would be that it's with aggravated rape, it's a minimum of 15 years. This was not a situation where you had individuals that were lurking behind the dumpster, looking to prey on a young woman and grabbed her and dragged her off. I don't think that there was any plan in anyone's mind that this was an intention to do this act. I think it happened in the perfect storm. These 4 kids are not bad kids. Prison is generally to correct behavior, to change behavior. I think that can be done with a sentence that does not ruin these 4 kids so that they become more of a liability walking out.
You're facing 145 years in prison. In Tennessee, the tendency for this kind of crime is to do 100% of the sentence, as opposed to like good time.
Yes, sir.
If that happens, that would mean you're going to die in prison.
Yes, sir.
That you'll never take another free breath in your entire life.
Yes, sir.
Should that happen?
I don't think so.
If not, why not?
Because that's not a clear representation of who I am.
So you think you shouldn't do the full time here?
I don't think I should.
For example, I ask you, we're talking here about, I've not met Brandon Vandenberg. I don't know him. I haven't met him.
Yes, sir.
But I saw a young man pull up in a car and get an unconscious woman out of the car and carry her into what turned out to be a savage, brutal rape scene. I heard him on videotape laughing and playing porn in the background and egging people on and going on and on. And I ask you, how do you feel about that? I'd hang with him. Really? This is who you would choose. This is your friend. You would be with this person again. This person that brought this girl into this dorm, you're in this situation, and you're saying, yeah, my judgment is, okay. Help me with that. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I think everyone deserves to be forgiven and to be given a second chance. I don't think there was a clear representation of him. I know that's not a clear representation of me, but I do think people deserve a second chance, and I do think people should be forgiven if they've learned from their mistakes.
Man, I'm all over forgiveness, but I'm looking for some insight here. I'm looking for...
I think now, having gone through this situation, I don't think I could get peer pressured into anything like that ever again.
But you were drunk and you don't recall what you did.
Yeah, but I don't think alcohol will be a part of my life anymore.
Are you afraid of prison?
Am I afraid of? Yeah.
Are you afraid that you're going to be labeled and that they are going to do to you what you did to her?
You know, I think I can let the real Corey shine wherever, and I think people will feel that, you know, that wasn't a clear representation of him. And I think people will be apt to forgive me, but I know when people go into those places with these type of charges, get harassed. Hopefully I can make it.
Coming up.
Corey, did you fail your mother here?
Not embarrassed. She did her job. I failed her.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, the Vanderbilt football players interview from behind bars.
I remember waking up in an unfamiliar room at 8 something the next morning. I felt very out of it. I didn't feel like myself. I felt very confused. I started to develop a really bad headache, and I also was in pain in certain parts of my body. I was embarrassed.
Is there anything you want to say to the victim in this crime? Is there anything you want to say to that girl that was so defiled, debased, and humiliated by you and the others?
I would tell her that I'm terribly sorry. And hopefully one day I can meet and explain to her that that's not me, and that she can really get a feel for who I am. The real Corey Beatty. And I wish I could take it all back. I wish there was a button that I could just delete everything. But unfortunately, it's not. And I'm sorry she's had to go through this, her and her family. I'm sorry they had to see her like that. I know she's a smart young lady. She went to Vanderbilt, graduated. I think she's in med school. So I just really hate it. And I hope her family forgives me. I hope she forgives me. I pray for her every day. Pray for her family every day. And I just hope they can find it in their heart to just forgive me. Because that's not who I am.
Are you sorry you did those things to her?
Oh.
I mean, are you?
Yes. Very, very.
You don't defend this behavior. You don't excuse it.
If I don't, it's inexcusable.
Coming up.
Where's your mother work?
At Vanderbilt.
How proud was she the day you put that helmet on him?
She is proud.
And how did your mother feel the day you were arrested?
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, the football players interview from behind bars.
Corey, did you fail your mother here?
I did.
Did you let her down?
I did.
Did you break her heart?
I did.
Where's your mother work?
At Vanderbilt.
How long has she worked there?
About 37 years.
How proud was she when you got a scholarship to play football there?
That's where she wanted me to go.
So she spent her life there, working there, and then...
I burst.
Here comes her baby boy, and he gets a scholarship to play football there.
Yep.
How proud was she the day you put that helmet on and walked out there?
She was proud.
And how did she feel the day you were arrested?
I'm sure she was heartbroken.
Will you ever sit in her kitchen again?
I pray. I pray and hope.
This is on you, not her?
She did her job. I failed her.
If you ever get out of prison, do you think it's too late to make her proud?
No. I hope not. I pray I hope not.
What happened here at Vanderbilt University is sadly not an isolated incident. In fact, it's happening all over the country. By bravely testifying and facing her attackers, the victim of this unthinkable crime has set a strong example. We all must stand up against these crimes against women. We need to talk to our children. In trial, it was exposed that there were half a dozen other people who knew about this crime, yet no one did anything to stop it or report it to the police. We need to make sure this doesn't continue to happen to other women. These are our daughters, our sisters, and our friends. This is a lesson to everyone out there. Sexual violence is not a joke. It is not a game. Alcohol consumption is not an excuse. Rape is a violent crime, and you will be punished. Corey Beatty will be sentenced in March and is facing up to 145 years behind bars for his crime. I want to thank everyone at the Criminal Justice Center in Nashville, Tennessee, for their professionalism and for allowing us access to their facility. I also want to thank our affiliate WKRN in Nashville, Tennessee for their contribution to the production of our show. For more information, go to drphil.com. Thanks for watching.
Today on Dr. Phil, she claims her daughter was bullied to death.
I wanted to stop it because I don't want it to happen to somebody else's daughter.
But now,
I believe that Rebecca was murdered and that her mother's covered it up.
Mom says that she's being bullied.
Do you know this woman?
Never met her. I think she's insane. She's bullying, she's stalking, she's harassing. In my opinion, she needs mental help.
Today, they come face to face.
I know that Rebecca did not commit suicide.
What do you base that on?
12-year-old girls don't do it like that.
How do you know that?
You've harassed me.
I have not harassed you.
Leave us alone.
I want your daughter's case reopened.
It's not your daughter, it's my daughter.
On the morning of September 9th, 2013, sadly, 12-year-old Rebecca Ann committed suicide by jumping from this silo in her hometown. An investigation led to the arrest of 2 teenagers on charges that Rebecca Ann was so severely bullied that she took her own life.
The entire nation has been gripped by the story of a Florida teen who took her life after allegedly being bullied by 2 other girls.
Rebecca was last seen leaving her Lakeland home. Rebecca's body was found nearly a day later, just blocks away at a closed cement plant.
Rebecca Sedgwick climbed one of these abandoned cement towers and jumped to her death.
It is raw, and it is disturbing.
We see multiple blunt force trauma from her fall.
Rebecca's sisters found comments posted 4 days ago that said, "Nobody cares about you. I hate you, and you deserve to die."
I lost my 12-year-old sister because of people at school telling her she didn't need to be here anymore.
It appears that this all started over a boyfriend issue. Rebecca was absolutely terrorized on social media.
The bullies won. They got what they wanted. They wanted her to kill herself. Left all of us heartbroken.
More than a month after Rebecca committed suicide, 2 of her former classmates, just 12 and 14 years old, are arrested accused of bullying her to death.
If there's someone criminally responsible, you can believe that we're going to hold them responsible.
Well, as it turns out, charges against both teenage girls were ultimately dropped. For Rebecca Ann's family, it should have been a time to start the grieving process. But instead, a whole new nightmare began. Tricia, Rebecca Ann's mother, says a woman she has never met started an unbelievable online cyberbullying campaign against her and her 20-year-old daughter, Summer, accusing them of murdering Rebecca Ann and covering it up. Tricia says it all began because this woman says she saw news stories and was drawn to the fact that she had the same name as Tricia's deceased daughter, Rebecca Ann.
In March of 2014, a friend of mine sent me a message and told me that some lady had made a group on Facebook and she was claiming that my daughter Summer murdered my daughter Becca and that I was covering it up and made it look like it was a suicide. She feels an affinity with my daughter because they share the same name, Rebecca Ann, and she's also claimed to have a vision in her head of what happened that day. And in that vision, she states that Summer and Becca were arguing and Summer hit Becca upside the head with a baseball bat or something big. I was very shocked that somebody could just accuse a family of those horrible crimes just out of the blue, not even knowing the family. We've had nothing to do with her death. There's no cover-up. I have never met Rebecca Ann Talley. Rebecca Talley is waging this online campaign against my family. I get messaged quite a bit from different people because she posts in 60 groups, tweets 255 times in one night. Every day, Rebecca posts a screenshot with some crazy accusation or hurtful thing, and she will give them my email address, and they will message me, "You should be in jail, you murdered your daughter, or you covered up the murder." It is very hurtful. When I messaged Rebecca, she basically told me that she was never going to stop. She's bullying, she's stalking, she's harassing. In my opinion, I think she needs mental help. I'm definitely worried that this woman might harm me or my children.
Well, Tricia is being joined by her attorney, Matt Morgan. And Tricia was here a few months ago for a show I did on the devastating effects of cyberbullying. So thank both of you for being here, and thank you for being here again. Tricia, what do you make of this?
I think she's insane. We've been dealing with this for 13 months now.
Do you know this woman?
Never met her.
To this day, you've never met her?
To this day, I've never met her.
Who are we talking about here? Rebecca Ann says she has no doubt that Tricia played a part in her 12-year-old daughter's death. Take a look.
I believe that Rebecca was murdered, and I believe that her mother's covered it up since day one.
12-year-old Rebecca Sedgwick climbed one of these abandoned cement towers and jumped to her death.
I heard of a news report about a little girl, Rebecca Ann, who had committed suicide, and I'm Rebecca Ann. So it did strike a nerve. There's no way that a 12-year-old girl would jump off of that to kill herself. I saw the video of Tricia, and she started to speak. I knew 100% that she was lying.
Becca's being threatened. You know, these girls are saying that they're going to jump her.
I don't know one mother that could have been on camera that dry-faced 6 after their daughter's body was found. I believe Summer and her mother conspired to cover up what Summer had accidentally done to Rebecca, and I can see it as a vision. I believe that Rebecca and Summer got into an argument. Summer went berserk on her and hit her with something. It was either a baseball bat or a softball bat, something long and hard and metal. I can see when Rebecca got hit, she was sitting in the recliner. It's clear as day. I believe that if they took a forensics team in there and sprayed it with luminol, it would light up like the sun, with blood, right in the living room floor. I think Summer was very jealous of Rebecca because she was thinner and smarter. I believe it bothered Summer, no doubt. Anybody that tells me that Rebecca killed herself because of bullying is completely misinformed, and I will fight till the death to prove that she did not do that. A lot of my proof is my own intuition. I have created the advocates for the reopening of the Rebecca Ann Sedgwick death investigation Facebook page. I started it with 71 people, and now there are over 600. I spend about 4 to 5 hours a day posting. Within a week, I got a message from Tricia, and she was very upset. And I told her, I believe you know exactly what happened to your daughter, and I'm gonna fight to get her case reopened. She told me I was crazy. I believe Tricia is a pathological, lying, malignant narcissist. If she goes to prison, that's her own fault. I want justice for Rebecca.
Well, this woman is here, Rebecca Ann is here, so I want to ask her to come on out, and you'll actually meet her for the first time. And I have some questions for her, as I'm sure you do as well. Rebecca Ann, I'm Dr. Phil.
Hi, Dr. Phil, nice to meet you.
Rebecca Ann, this is Tricia. This is her attorney, Matt Morgan. So tell me how you come to be involved in this.
I was watching the news, and I looked at the silo whenever they showed the shot of it, and I said, there's just something about that. Like, I just do not see a 12-year-old girl jumping off of that. None of it seemed right to me. No 12-year-old girl would do that to themselves because she laid there and suffered. She didn't die right away.
You said you looked at this silo and
it did not seem to me that a 12-year-old girl would jump off of a silo and mutilate herself as a suicide. You know, 12-year-olds.
What do you base that on?
It's just a feeling. I mean, just to look at it, I didn't say for sure. I want Rebecca's case reopened. No 12-year-old girl is going to jump off of where she's not going to be found. She didn't write a note. They're saying that the only note. That? I don't know that. I'm just.
But you said that. How do you know that? What is your? Do you have background in training in adolescent
Absolutely
suicide?
not. And I told your show that. I have.
Then
no.
How do you make that statement like that?
I'm just. That is a statement that I made. Well, 12-year-old girls don't do it like that.
How do you know that?
I'm not saying that I know that for sure. That is my own opinion.
Okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but this is a family, a mother,
right,
that's in a grieving process, and based on your opinion, you
See, I haven't bullied her online. This is the whole thing. I haven't bullied her online. I have reopened Rebecca's case. Too many questions.
Rebecca Ann has a long list of accusations and assertions against Tricia about the death of her 12-year-old daughter, but how do her claims stand up against the actual facts, medical examiner's report, and what took place that terrible, terrible day? We're going to go into all of that after the break.
Since I realized that Rebecca was murdered, I decided to use the internet as my platform to reopen her case. Rebecca's mom and I have each other blocked. However, she has admittedly put spies into my group. Someone does send her screenshots of what we show in our group. People have told me I was crazy. I've lost friends. I've had people say, oh, you're still doing that. Absolutely I am, and if you don't like it, I will 100% wipe you off of my Facebook, because I believe 100% that her mother has covered up her death.
Rebecca Ann Talley is a woman that has been harassing and falsely accusing our family of murder and cover-ups for 13 months now. Because of this harassment, our family has been unable to grieve. I'm pissed off, and I want to do something to stop it, because I don't want it to happen to somebody else's daughter.
Well, Tricia's 12-year-old daughter's tragic suicide made national news in 2013. One woman was immediately struck by a unique similarity to the victim, and they shared the same name, Rebecca Ann. She says she felt a connection to the child and even had a vision that it was not suicide at all. Rebecca Ann is convinced that the deceased teen's mother, Tricia, covered up the real cause of her own daughter's death, because the real cause, according to her, was murder. Do you have anything you want to say to her?
Yeah, you need to stop. You need to stop with the false accusations. You need to stop harassing my family. You need to leave my daughter alone.
I have not harassed your family.
Yes, you have.
You have harassed my family.
Did you not go to my son's page, my 16-year-old son's page, and take screenshots?
Oh,
yes.
yeah, sure did.
What we do
and I put
in our
in my
life is none of your business.
I never, ever smeared you on
It doesn't matter.
I put them in my closed group.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
You don't know us. We don't know you.
Absolutely,
we want you to leave us alone.
I want your daughter's case reopened, because I can guarantee you.
It's not your daughter, it's my daughter.
I know it, and it's Rebecca's daddy's daughter too, and he wants her case reopened
this
too.
Has
so
nothing
you tell,
to do with
I don't care. I wish he was on the stage.
Okay, well, I want to focus on how it is you know that this is murder.
I never said I know. I think.
Well, let's look at what you said.
I think that it is murder.
Let's look at what you said.
That it had something to do
you said it in writing, and we interviewed you.
You know, I'll be honest with you. You guys have picked apart my interview yesterday and put on some things that were very much
Well, we
out
actually
of
recorded
context.
the entire interview.
Good.
So we have recorded its entirety.
Good.
Because
and I think
oftentimes
the fact
I find
Rebecca's,
that people
I
want
apologize.
to. I feel that people want to sometimes say they're taken out of context. So we've recorded the entire thing. So we can.
I understand.
Reference it in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
You said, and I quote, when they played a 3-second clip of the mother crying on television,
It wasn't 3 seconds. It was a 30-second clip.
I assumed that everyone would not feed into that kind of.
Yep. It was 6 hours after her daughter was found dead. She's saying suicide. She tells everybody else that she didn't say it was suicide. But I've spoken to the detective, and he told me she was the first one to say it was suicide and never said a word different.
That's a lie, too.
That's what the detective told me on the phone. I wish he was here, too.
You
yes,
said,
sir.
I have kids of my own, and it would only be natural for a mother to shed tears.
It would. You can't hide true grief.
You can't hide true grief. So you make that as a pronouncement as though you have some expertise in this.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
People say things
That is an asinine statement.
I agree. I agree. I agree that you cannot say that. But my only fight is to reopen her case.
That is an asinine statement. Wait, listen, for you to come on here and say that is an ignorant statement.
Well, you know what I think is ignorant? I think it's ignorant that all of these charges, and since there was no bullying for 7 months before Rebecca died, that's in the case file. There's no, why do you think they dropped the charges?
Case files?
Everyone grieves in their own
I
way.
understand that.
They grieve very, very differently. And at one point, one mother or father might be in complete shock and have totally flat affect. Another might be in a complete blubbering meltdown. Another could be in complete and total anger. So for you to say that, it is completely wrong. It is completely wrong.
Oh,
you then went on to say, if Tricia claims she saw her daughter Sunday night before her death and she was fine, then there is no way this little girl would go kill herself if she was really fine.
No, I didn't say that. I don't think...
No, actually, you did say that.
When did I say that?
You said it in the pre-interview, and it's recorded.
The pre-interview, all right.
So don't tell me you didn't say it. You did say it.
Okay, I don't believe that let me just say, I'm talking from myself. If I went to bed on Sunday night and my daughter was fine.
Said this?
Your producer, who was definitely, when I say that this producer was definitely leading me on to say those things, I will say that. You guys can say whatever you want.
Quote, I mean, come on. If Tricia claims, so you were led to say that.
Look,
you were
totally
led to say,
believe,
I mean, come on.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
So the producer
I do not believe Rebecca
Well, I'm going to
Sedgwick
give her a
committed
raise because
suicide.
she's really good if she led you to say that. Did she lead you to say Tricia is nothing but a liar
Lying,
and everything that
narcissist.
comes out of her mouth
Oh, no, she
are
did
all
not.
lies?
Yep, I said that. She has been asking for money to start a nonprofit since December of 2013, and recently she's still asking for money to start this nonprofit that she still has not started. And
Are you starting a nonprofit?
Yes, I plan on it.
What's
she's been
the nonprofit?
planning on it for...
Rebecca Stand Against Bullying.
And what do you intend to do with that?
To speak at schools and other youth groups and stuff like that about the effects of bullying. And the steps that, they need to take.
I really wish we could have had Rebecca's dad here.
Yeah. You actually say that you had a vision. Quote, I know that Summer killed her sister and got away with it because her mother, Tricia, helped her remove the body.
This is very upsetting to me because I didn't want this to be about my vision.
You said no mother could have a dry face after 6 hours into her daughter's death.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe that she could sit on stage or even in her yard and talk about how Rebecca committed suicide.
So
right
you just
then.
don't believe a mother could have a dry face 6 hours after her daughter's death?
I don't believe that she should be able to say that it is suicide, and the investigation hadn't even started. The investigation hadn't even started.
I was not the one that ruled it a suicide.
You may not have been the one who ruled it, but you're the first one that said it.
No, I was not.
Well, then why would the detective tell me that?
The detective did not tell you that.
Yes, he did tell me that
No,
over the phone. Yes, he did. Oh, my God, yes, he did.
No,
yes,
he
did.
And that's not
yes,
what his report says either.
Yes, he did. And I quote him, she's never said anything other than suicide to us from day one.
Okay.
Your daughter's biological father is on the phone. His name is Ken. Ken, are you there?
I am.
I'm here with this other Rebecca Ann, this woman that is making what I consider to be some unfounded and outrageous statements, and she is citing you as being I think, a complete and unbridled supporter of the things that she is saying. Is that true?
The only thing I support is that my daughter did not commit suicide. I do not support any of the things saying that her mother has anything to do with it.
Yeah, he won't do that.
Well, she has said here that, I haven't gotten to this yet, but I'll let you listen to this, because she's saying, I wish he was here, I wish he was here, because she's saying some very outrageous things, and so now he's here, so you have him here, so we'll just let him respond to some of these things. She says that you actually say that you had a vision, and I'm going to read your quotes. These are the quotes Rebecca said. I started to get a vision about Rebecca. I think she came to me when she died. In my vision, I saw Rebecca's sister hit her on the head with something because they were arguing. She killed her. I don't know how this vision came about, but it just did. I could close my eyes and see Summer swinging on Rebecca over and over. I could also see them yelling at each other. That was your vision, Rebecca, correct?
I wasn't sure if those were the words, but yeah, I can see it.
But that is what you said,
you laugh
your vision.
all you want to.
That is what you said your vision was, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ken, do you support that kind of rhetoric?
I do not.
No.
Okay.
That's the first time I have heard that.
I just wanted to be sure. I just wanted to be sure. She also went on to say that she believes that after this murder, that your ex-wife helped move the body.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before either.
She said, quote, I know that Summer killed her sister and got away with it because her mother, Tricia, helped her remove the body. That's the woman you're aligned here with, Ken. I just want to be sure you understand.
This is very upsetting to me because I didn't want this to be about my vision. This was supposed to be me coming on here to try to help get Rebecca's case reopened because that's all I wanted. I never put anything that you have on your paperwork right here. I've never put that stuff online because I didn't want it to ruin Rebecca's case getting reopened. This is the only time that I've said that.
That's all that's online.
No, what's online is that you're a liar.
It is online.
That's what's online.
That's not the only
That's what's
thing
online. Anyone can look up. Feel free to check the internet, folks, because that is exactly what I've put on there. In my own group, I have posted what you have posted. I've
and added your own 2 cents in.
I can add my own 2 cents in my own closed group. You're not in it.
Stay off of my page.
Anyone that asks me to be in that group, those are the ones I put in it. I know that Rebecca did not commit suicide and she needs her case reopened so that she can have a voice. She did not commit suicide, and I wholeheartedly believe that.
Well, you know what? Let's just take a break and we'll come back and hear what the medical examiner had to say. The medical examiner is the one that made the determination in this case, and the medical examiner's findings are that the cause of death was blunt impact to torso and extremities. The 12-year-old girl died as a result of suicide. She was not killed by anyone. This was part of the narrative because I looked at other body areas to see if she was sexually assaulted or strangled or thrown from whatever height. Came to suicide conclusion based on injuries and what happened to her prior to the event. Was given information about what was going on in the victim's life. Did not rule this suicide because the law enforcement told her to. Did not accidentally fall off the tower. Even if bullying was taken out of the equation, it would be ruled a suicide, not accidental death. She did not go there and accidentally fall. There were no injuries indicating she was grabbing for something, trying to save herself. If she was pushed, the body would have landed further away. She was not dead and thrown from the height. So these were the medical examiner's findings pursuant to the examination of the body after this tragic event. And Ken, that was your understanding about the medical examiner's findings as well, correct?
No. I don't know what you're reading there, but I have the medical examiner's findings that I got from the Sheriff's Department, and it says nothing what you just said.
Well, those are the findings in the record that are in your daughter's file. And Ken, to be clear, you don't share Rebecca Ann's opinion that your ex-wife caused your daughter's death.
I do not stand behind that at all. I do not support that theory at all.
You don't believe she was involved in moving the body after your daughter was murdered?
I do not.
Do you believe that her daughter Summer beat your daughter to death with something?
No, I do not.
Okay, so you don't support any of the contentions of Rebecca Ann here, other than you would like to see further investigation into the cause of your daughter's death?
That is correct.
All right, Ken, we'll let you get back to work. Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir.
On 8/21/13, and the source of this is the Polk County Sheriff's Office. You can go back and see, what your daughter was researching at the time, and here are the things she was researching on the cell phone. How many over-the-counter sleeping pills does it take to die? Things not to say to a cutter. Magnolia Center for Eating Disorders. What percentage is considered overweight at 13? How do I cheat on my boyfriend? How do I get the blade out of my razor? I need you to tell me you love me syndrome. How many Advil to die? This is the history of the searches that were on her cell phone.
Rebecca didn't kill herself the way that she threatened, all these things that she threatened to do.
It's none of your business.
I want her case reopened, and I will fight. I
don't care, but you're going to stop slandering my family in the process.
I am not slandering your family. I want her case reopened, and so does her dad.
You said, I can't wait to see her face when Rebecca's case gets reopened. I'll be at every court date. I can't believe her lawyers haven't dropped her ass yet, or at least told her to shut up. Lies, lies, lies. I don't believe I've seen anything like it. We're going to find out what happened to Rebecca and why her mother and sister lied about it. How is that not slander?
I totally believe that they lied about it.
You tweet, if only her right leg and hip were damaged, then what killed her? A broken leg doesn't equal death. Her cause of death was multiple blunt force trauma. Rebecca's mother has sent me a cease and desist order. I told her I wiped my ass with it.
I sure did.
Reopen Rebecca's case. What are you hiding?
That is in response to Rebecca's mom's tweet to me that the only thing that was hurt was her right leg and hip that was broken.
Yeah, because
that's what you said.
Summer bashed her in the head with a baseball bat.
You never heard anything about Summer when this was done.
We'll talk to Trish's other daughter, 20-year-old Summer, who says Rebecca is stalking her and she wants her to stop. She'll join us. We'll be right back.
My mom and I are being bullied online and being called all these hurtful names. What Rebecca has done to my family is a constant reminder of my sister's death.
Trisha lost her 12-year-old daughter, Rebecca Ann, whom she calls Becca, to suicide in 2013 following extreme cyberbullying. Rather than grieving her loss, Trisha says she has spent the last 13 months being cyberbullied herself by a complete stranger. She says the stranger, Rebecca Ann, started an online campaign accusing her of being complicit in her daughter's death. Rebecca Ann's main theory is that Trisha's 20-year-old daughter, Summer, murdered 12-year-old Rebecca Ann. Summer says these accusations are completely untrue and needs to just stop.
I don't know Rebecca Ann Talley personally, but she's been harassing our family. She claimed that I beat my sister to death because I was jealous of her. I did not have anything to do with the death of my sister. I loved her. She was my best friend. Rebecca Talley is doing the same thing to us that happened to my sister. My mom and I are being bullied online and being called all these hurtful names, saying that I'm overweight and that my sister was prettier than I am. It made me feel low. She's a cyberbully. What Rebecca has done to my family is a constant reminder of my sister's death. I definitely believe I'm dealing with a sick woman.
Summer, I'm glad to meet you. Sorry for the occasion, but I'm glad you're here. Her theory is that, I guess, in this vision that you had, that she beat her sister to death, and I think you said that you found out that she hated her sister. How did you find that out?
There was a video that I found that Trisha has deleted now. It's a video of it's a video of Rebecca filming Trisha and Summer, and Rebecca is talking quietly on this video. And that's not the only thing, but it just kind of reinforced the fact that they're not as close as all of these little pictures that show them. That's the truth.
You don't know what happened behind closed doors.
You're absolutely right, I don't.
Exactly, so why are you sitting there accusing me of murdering my sister?
That's what I think happened. I'm not accusing you of it. I never said 100% you did it.
That's really?
Theory.
That's why you posted it.
Well, then let's get her case reopened and let's all find out.
You want the case reopened for all the wrong reasons.
I want Rebecca's case reopened because
Why? Because you want your theories to be right?
You said, I know that Summer killed her sister and got away with it.
I think. Everything.
You said, I know.
But you know what? I don't know. I think. That is my theory, okay? It has been my theory since day one. But it doesn't matter what I think. There are enough reasons for Rebecca to have her case reopened.
You know it all, right?
I don't know it all, but I hope
you sure act like
I hope that there's an independent investigation into her death, and I hope that they listen to neither one of us and do it all on their own.
They're not going to listen to you because you're crazy.
I hope that they don't listen to you either. And you're a liar, and so is she. I may be crazy, but why? Let me ask you a question. Why would Rebecca's dad want her case reopened also?
Do you know either one of us?
Why would Rebecca's dad want her case reopened?
Leave Rebecca's dad out of it.
Oh, I'm sure that you would love to leave him out of it.
No, this is between
me and you. I'm sure you would.
This is between
I'm sure
me and you.
That he has a lot to say when it comes to you.
This is between me and you.
You, in your visionary wisdom, want this case
It's not visionary wisdom. You're kind of mocking me.
I think you are reckless.
That
and
may be
I
the
think
case.
you are a bully.
That's okay.
You have decided that in your visionary wisdom want this case
It's
reopened.
not visionary wisdom. You're kind of mocking me, but you know,
Yes.
you can mock me all you want to, but I would very much like to see this little girl's case reopened.
I think you have revealed your thinking and your theory.
I did, and I'm not shy about it either.
And I think you are reckless.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe so. And that may be the case. That
And
may
I
be the
think
case.
you are a bully.
That's okay.
And I think you are highly intrusive to this family's grieving process.
What about her
for
daddy's
your own,
grieving process?
For your own,
This has nothing
for
to do
your own
with him.
entertainment.
Because I feel like Rebecca's
Let me
dad has
finish.
not gotten to say anything on
Let me
this.
finish.
Sure.
And I think that if you have a feeling as a member of society that this case should be reopened, that there are mechanisms for which you can ask for that to be done. And those mechanisms exist within the legal system. Instead, you have chosen to grandstand on the internet and draw attention to yourself and make these sensationalistic statements to aggrandize yourself. And to me,
that's not why I've done it.
To me, I think that is unconscionable. And when you say, oh, I've got 600 people in my group, and they sent me a cease and desist act, and I wiped my ass with it.
I told them I wiped
well,
my ass with it.
that's really, you should really be proud of that. That's a really...
They actually, you know...
That's a really proud statement.
The thing is that I feel like Rebecca's father's not gotten any kind of
I'm not
attention.
talking to Rebecca's father. I'm talking to you.
Okay.
And Rebecca's father, he and I had a conversation.
Yes.
And I told him that I would be more than happy to help him in any way that I could if he wants to reopen this case.
Wonderful.
Because he's not doing what you're doing. You've created this group of people that you have in this private group, and I actually have some thoughts for you folks that are in that group, and I'll tell you what they are right after the break.
My daughter, Becca. She was everything that was good in the world.
Hi, this is my random video.
I want to remember her smile, and I want to remember her silliness.
I miss everything about Becca. I miss her goofiness.
I like pickles.
She was very sweet. She had the biggest heart.
She was an amazing person, and she had that smile that could brighten up anybody's day.
I think about her every second of every day. I miss her so much, so much.
I'm very passionate about cyberbullying and bullying in general. In fact, in July of 2011, I was invited by then Congresswoman Carolyn McCarthy to bring my battle against cyberbullies straight to Capitol Hill, where I testified to reauthorize and amend the No Child Left Behind Act, which is part of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, to include bullying and cyberbullying, so we could make it part of the curriculum in the schools, so we could talk about these things in a way that people understood. You have intruded on this family's grief process. You have insinuated yourself into the healing process of people that have lost a family member through no wrongdoing. There's something that goes on in bullying called bystander responsibility, and you know what? If you're part of that, you're just as guilty as the person that's doing it. Shame on you.
No, I agree.
If you have a feeling that something is amiss here, then, you know, write your congressman, write the authorities, you know, send a letter, do whatever you do. But if you're aligning yourself with somebody that says, I'm wiping my ass with a legal document, lies, 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 I have a vision that a sister's beating somebody over there. I mean, come on. That is just, I'm sorry, it is irresponsible.
I've never posted that.
It is just irresponsible. And, you know, to you guys, I really hope that you wall yourself off from this. I really applaud the fact that this stand against bullying that you are, you know, wanting to do in Rebecca Ann's name. I do hope that you go forward with that. And, you know, I have a foundation, a Dr. Phil Foundation, Robbins Foundation, When Georgia Smiled. If you do go forward with that, the two of us would like to join together and start it off with a $10,000 donation. If you do that, because anybody that wants to step up and fight against bullying and cyberbullying, we partner with organizations all across the country, and we certainly would like to join in y'all's fight against it. And Matt, I certainly hope you explore every legal remedy to hold people accountable that are harassing your clients and their family, and you're in very capable hands with this lawyer. Thank you for taking your time to be here, and I hope this goes well. I want to thank my guests for being here today. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, guys.